Assalaamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we will continue our next topic in our Ramadan program, which is Qalqalah. And there are two types of Qalqalah. The first type is called Qalqalatul Sughra, and the other one is Qalqalatul Kubra. Al-Qalqalatul Sughra is basically light qalqala or light echoing sound. Al-Qalqalatul Kubra is heavy qalqala or heavy echoing sound. The word al-qalqala actually means to shake something up or to echo, something that is echo. Okay? And as-sughra means small, or in this case we will say light. So a light echoing sound. So the letters of qalqala, both of them, al-qalqalatul sughra, the light qalqala, or al-qalqalatul kubra, the heavy qalqala, they have the same letters. So the letters are qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal. Okay? The ruling for the light qalqala is whenever any of the letters of al-qalqala takes a sukoon, that's point number one, takes a sukoon, while it is in the middle of a word, point number two, or in the middle of a sentence, that's point number three. What do we have to do? We have to pronounce the qalqala sound in a light echoing way. Okay? In the examples we will see what we mean. So whenever any of these letters come after a sukoon, takes a sukoon, yeah, while it is in the middle of a word or a middle of a sentence, we have to pronounce or we have to echo these letters in a light manner. Okay? So let's look at the example. Here we have the letters. And we say whenever these letters take a sukoon, yeah, when they take a sukoon and they appear at the middle of a word, or if they appear in the middle of a sentence, we have to echo the letter in a light manner. For example, we have qaf, and here we see qaf, and it takes a sukoon above there. And it is in the middle of a word. Noon, qaf, ain, alif, it's one word. We said, in this case, we have to echo that qalqala letter or the sound in a light manner. So the ayah goes, فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. نَقْعًا. Okay? But we have to echo this sound, qaf here. So rather than saying naq'a, we say naq'a. Naq'a. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. And we don't try to put fatha above the qaf. Yeah? We try to echo it only. Rather than saying naqa'a, we say naqa'a. Naqa'a. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. Here we have qaf again, but this time it is in the middle of a sentence. Yeah? And we have to do the same. The word goes, فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. فَلْيُنْفِقْ. But the qaf here, we have to echo, so we say, فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فلينفق مما آتاه الله. So we just echo it in a light manner. Here we have ta, and ta comes at the middle of a word, so we have to do it. Rather than saying fawasatna, we say fawasaqna. فَوَسَطْنَا بِهِ جَمْعًا. Okay? Here we have ta, and it comes at the middle of a sentence. So we say وَلَا تُشْقِطْ وَلَا تُشْقِطْ وَاهْدِنَا إِلَى سَوَاءِ الصِّرَاطِ. وَلَا تُشْقِطْ. And we don't say وَلَا تُشْقِطْ. No. We say وَلَا تُشْقِطْ وَاهْدِنَا. Okay? We have ba here, and here we have ba at the middle of a word, and it goes وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا ضَبْحًا, and not ضَبْحًا. It is ضَبْحًا. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. Again, we have ba, and it's in the middle of a sentence. So we say, ثُمَّ ارْجِعِ الْبَصَرَ كَرَّتَيْنِ يَنْقَلِبْ يَنْقَلِبْ إِلَيْكَ الْبَصَرُ. We don't say يَنْقَلِبْ إِلَيْكَ الْبَصَرُ. We say يَنْقَلِبْ إِلَيْكَ الْبَصَرُ. Okay? Jim in the middle of a word, so we say Alam naj'al lahu aynayn. We don't say Alam naj'al. We say Alam naj'al lahu aynayn. Alright? And here we have Jim in the middle of a sentence, and the ayah goes فَادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ يُخْرِجْ لَنَا مِمَّا تُنْبِتُ الْأَرْضِ. Here we have a dal. It's in the middle of a word again. So it says فَادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ يُخْرِجْ لَنَا. Alright? Now coming to dal, and we have dal in the middle of a word, and the ayah goes فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا قَدْحًا. We don't say قَدْحًا, we say قَدْحًا. The last example is dal in a sentence, and it goes قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Okay? So what we have to remember is whenever qaf, ta, ba, jim, or dal takes a sukoon while they are in the middle of a word or at the middle of a sentence, we pronounce the qalqalah sound in a light echoing manner. It's very light. Okay? And that is al-qalqalah as-sughra, the light qalqalah. Now we have to go on to al-qalqalah al-kubra. Alright? Al-qalqalah al-kubra is divided into two parts. Yeah, it is divided into two parts, and the letters are the same. Qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. So the first part is whenever a qalqalah letter comes at the end of a word, that's part one, that's point one. Yeah? Now these letters, they're gonna appear at the end of a word. Yeah? Not the middle of a word or not the middle of a sentence. They are at the end of a word. That's point one. The second point is, and they take an original or standard sukoon. Just like the small one, they take a sukoon. But here, they take an original sukoon or a non-standard sukoon. In the example, we will explain what non-standard sukoons are. Yeah? Excuse me. And the reciter is stopping on it. That's point number 3. The reciter is stopping on the letter, because the letter, they appear at the end of the word, and the reciter is going to stop on them, regardless if they have an original sukoon or a non-standard sukoon. In this manner, or in this case, the sound of the Qalqalah letter must be pronounced in a heavy, echoing manner. Yeah, it has to be heavier than the first one, what we did a couple seconds ago. Okay, so let's look at the example. The standard sukoon. The standard sukoon is the normal sukoon that we all know about. Yeah? Non-standard sukoon is like this. You see, dal is a Qalqalah letter. It comes at the end of the word, but it does not have a sukoon. It has a dhamma. So because we're going to stop on this, we have to change this dhamma into sukoon, like this. So that's why we call this non-standard sukoon. Basically, it's still equal to sukoon. So it becomes an original sukoon. And we all know this verse in Surah Ikhlas, Allahu Samad. If we look at the Quran, we will see it marked Allahu Samadu. Yeah? But we don't continue and say Allahu Samadu. We said that if the reciter is stopping on it. So most of us would say Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu Samad. So we stop on the dal, but the dal has got a dhamma. So because we're stopping on this, we have to change that dhamma into a sukoon, and it becomes Allahu Samad. In this case, we have to do a heavy echoing sound. So we say Allahu Samad, mad, heavier, mad. Yeah? This ayah here goes Wa ila rabbika farghab, ghab. Yeah, the ba is heavier, ghab, and the dal here is heavier, samad. Okay? So let's look. In these examples, we're gonna have the letter come to the end of the word, the reciter is gonna stop on them, and the eyes are gonna be standard sukoon or non-standard sukoon. So the first one here is qaf, and it's got a non-standard sukoon in Surah Al-Falaq. Yeah, it's got kasra, but we're gonna stop on it, so we change the kasra into a sukoon. So we say Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Falaq. Yeah, heavy. Falaq. Now the reciter, they would know if they're making the sound heavier or not. Yeah. The other one here is ta, and the ayah goes Wallahu min waraihim muhit. Muhit. Yeah, but not muhitu. It's muhit because we're stopping. If we are continuing, well, that's not going to be Qalqalah anymore, because we're going to recite the tu and whatever verse comes. Ba, here we have an original sukoon. So the ayah goes فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ صَبْ فَانْصَبْ. Okay, here we have Jim, and we have a non-standard sukoon, and the verse goes وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. Buruj. Here we have dal, We have dal in two examples here. We have dal in the first qalqalah al-saghra, the small qalqalah, and we have dal as the heavy qalqalah. The small qalqalah is if the letter comes between a sentence. So this part is between a sentence, and this part is the end of a sentence, which is heavy one. So the ayah goes, Lam yalid wa lam yulad. This one is lighter, this one is heavy. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. Yeah, and like I said, the reciter is going to have to apply the light qalqalah and the heavy qalqalah, and they will know if they're applying it. Alright? So, like we said, al-qalqalah al-kubra is divided into two parts. The first part is whenever the letters come at the end of a word and they take an original or a non-standard sukoon, and the reciter is stopping on them, then we have to pronounce it in a heavy manner. The second part here is exactly the same but a little bit different. It says whenever the letter comes at the end of the word, point one, which is the same, the reciter is stopping on them, which is the same. The sound of the qalqalah letter must be pronounced in a heavy manner, which is the same. But the difference is the letter now takes a shadda. See, this is the difference. The letter takes a shadda. The first part is if the letter takes an original sukoon or a non-standard sukoon. The second part is if the letter takes a shadda. Yeah? So we have the qalqalah letters. They're coming at the end of a word or end of a sentence. The reciter is stopping on them, but in this case they take a shadda. As in the example, qaf, we're going to stop on qaf at the end, and it got a shadda. So we have to pronounce it heavy. So it goes, ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. Okay? And we don't say ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. No. We say ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. Okay? Here we have ba. The ayah goes, تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب وتب. Okay? We must hear the joining with the shadda. Jim, ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج. في الحج. Yeah? ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج. Okay? And that brings us to the end of our lesson al-qalqalah. Al-qalqalah al-saghra, the small one, is when the letters take a sukoon, they appear in the middle of a word or a middle of a sentence, we pronounce it in a light manner. Okay? Al-qalqalah al-kubra is divided into two parts. First one is when the letter comes at the end of a word. Excuse me. When the letter comes at the end of a word, takes an original or a non-standard sukoon, the reciter is stopping on it, that we have to pronounce it heavy. And the second part, if the letter takes a shadda, yeah, it comes at the end of a word, it takes the shadda, the reciter is stopping on it, and we have to pronounce it in a heavy, echoing manner. And that brings us to the end of this lesson, Al-Qalqalah. Wa Jazaakumullaahu Khairan. Wassalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh.